Hi, welcome to this week's Tech Talk, the show where the viewers send in questions and Chris tries his hardest to answer them for you. And hello, Christopher.
Hi, Tracy. Nice to be back again.
Yeah. You had a good week?
Yeah, not bad. Not
Good.
bad. Yeah.
Good. We're going to move on with the first question.
Okay.
Why does the internet sometimes go off and cancel and everywhere else is okay?
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a good question actually, but there is a reason behind it. Campersol is, even though we're close to Mazaron, it's still a rural location.
Yeah.
And as far as telecommunications are concerned, it's very vulnerable. Now the reason is, this is really dumbing it down basically, but if you imagine, you got the town of Mazaron is where our internet is fed from.
Right.
That's where and there's like one wire into Campersol. And once it leaves Campersol, it's strung up on telegraph poles all the way down to Mazaron rather than buried in the ground. So once that goes, I think we had on Campersol we had an outage not so long ago where a lot of the providers all went down, the mobile networks went down, quite a few of them went down at the same time. And it looks as though it was literally somebody had driven into a telegraph pole and knocked it over. And this telegraph pole, which is in Mazaron town, carried loads of big fibre trunks on it. Yeah. And it just severed Campersol from the world.
Just Campersol or?
Yeah, just Campersol. Yeah.
So a lot of the providers come through that then?
Any provider on Campersol gets their feed through Mazaron. There's no other way into Campersol through Mazaron. There is, I say one wire, there's about half a dozen. I think there was one company that didn't go down on Campersol that day, and they were just lucky to be on a different wire that didn't get snapped. But everything else went down. Even the mobile phone networks.
Yeah, some of them went down.
Yeah, like you see the towers on C sector. Now they get fed by fibre, and if they're on that wire that got cut, whoop, lost internet connectivity. So that's why Campersol is often down, and the rest of the town is good, because in your towns and cities they have more than one wire coming in from the internet. They have different routes in, as it's called, and so if one goes down, they can switch to another and so on. But unfortunately, Campersol, we're just a little
overlooked.
Yeah, well, it's the way it's always done. Villages out in rural areas, they'll have one wire in. They won't have multiple sources of internet. They'll have one. If that gets cut, off, the village is off until it's repaired. Now, what compounded the outage we had not so long ago, as all those companies went down, was the fact that it's August, and because half the telecoms industry is on holiday. So they had to find all the staff, gather people in, and suppliers are shut, and so it's a nightmare of a time of year to be dealing with something like that.
And something like that, is it like, can you, because going off when our cable snapped, it wasn't just a case of reconnecting with connectors, it's a case of stripping it out and putting new cable in.
With fibre, you can't just go there and put a joiner in and carry on. Often the whole cable has to be replaced. It's not like cable connections or wireless connections. That's why if a fibre service goes down, it's often down for a number of hours because the repair is quite lengthy. Once they found out where it is, of course. But that's the reason why Campersol often has an outage and nobody else does around the area, is because we're just on a little wire, and that wire...
It doesn't bother me at all. I don't understand the moments. I suppose people have to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's different, but it makes people talk to each other.
It does. Gets the old book out and think, who is that woman that's in my house? I see her every day.
Yeah, I actually talk to each other sometimes.
Yeah.
Right, we'll move on with my Windows PC will not turn on anymore. Have I lost all my stuff?
All right, okay, yeah, that's a good question. It's possible, but 9 times out of 10, not the case. If a PC doesn't turn on, you go there to turn it on one day, and nothing happens. Or you turn it on and it comes up with some big error saying no boot device found or something like that. The chances are that your data is still safe. It's on what's called a hard drive,
Yeah.
which is where everything's stored within the PC. Providing that's not the bit of equipment in the PC that has died, then you haven't lost anything. If that happens to you, just take it to a tech shop and they'll look at it, and very often they'll find it's just either power supply's gone, just needs a new power supply putting in, or the actual operating system itself, like Windows for example, is just gone.
So
Too early.
if everything's gone and the laptop is kaput, can you get your...
Right. This data recovery is what you're talking about.
Yeah, on a hard drive.
Of a hard drive.
Yeah.
If a hard drive is damaged and it just will not read anymore, yes, it can be recovered. It depends how valuable that data is, because it ain't cheap. It has to be sent off to data recovery experts, and sometimes all they've got to do is replace the circuit board on the back of the drive.
Yeah.
And it's back to life again, and that's all right. But if it's actually damaged on the actual bits that record the data, then it's a much more expensive thing to do.
But if the computer itself is damaged, but the hard drive is okay...
If the hard drive's fine, then you can recover that data,
Yeah.
no problem. That big expense. It's just, I mean, you may just have to have Windows reloaded, and you take it to a tech shop to do that, and they'll make sure your data that was there before is still there.
Right.
But yeah, it's not a case of damn, once it's broken, you've lost everything. It's not always the case with a PC. With a phone, that is normally the case. If a phone breaks and it's just busted, unless you're prepared to spend a lot of money,
Yeah.
you've lost it. Hopefully, because it's a phone, you've stored most of your stuff up on the cloud anyway. But yeah, I mean, we do carry our lives on our phones these
Yeah.
days. Like anything electronic, you can turn it on one day and that's the last day it worked. You think, oh no, it's completely dead. Electronics are very susceptible to just dying one day for no apparent reason. But that's why we have cloud services.
Yeah, mine's always full.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Like Google Drive. Microsoft have one called OneDrive. You get a couple of gigs of data for free, but if you've got more than that to store up there, then they start charging. Not expensive. I think Google is like €2 a month for like for. I think it's two. Am I talking terabytes or gigabytes?
I have no idea. You're the techie, not me.
Damn. But anyway, it's 10 gigabytes.
Gigabytes.
Yes, 10 gigabytes. That's what I'm talking about.
And that's what, about €2 a month?
I think it's about €9 for 10 gigabytes. And
Oh, right.
2 gigabytes is like €2.
But that's not a lot of storage, is
It's-
it?
10 gigabytes is quite a lot.
Yeah, but not 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Terabytes, sorry.
Oh, terabytes, right.
Yeah, not gigabytes. I'm talking terabytes.
That's bigger.
That's much
Is that
bigger.
bigger, Chris?
That's much bigger.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, a gigabyte, 1,000 gigabytes is 1 terabyte.
Right.
That's what I meant.
Still not enough for all my stuff anyway.
Well, no.
Right. I want to try Linux, but I don't want to lose what I have.
Okay, yeah, that's fair comment. Because if you download Linux onto a disk or a USB and stick it in, stick it in your laptop and install it, obviously you think, oh, I'm going to wipe everything and lose everything. Well, a lot of Linux Mint, I keep ranting on about Linux Mint because I love Linux Mint.
Oh, I don't know, it was Mint I told Jonathan to do. I don't think it was Mint. I can't. Light. Did you say light? No. Have I got that wrong?
There is light versions of most of them.
Right.
Yeah. But if you download, you go to the Linux Mint website, you download the files and stick them on a pen, and then when you plug your pen in, when it first boots up, you get an option to run from the memory pen. It's called Live,
Right.
a Live edition. So what it's actually doing is it's not touching your hard drive, it's actually using that little pen as your hard drive. It runs a bit slower, obviously,
Yeah.
but you get the chance to think, oh yeah, everything's working all right. Yeah, it actually does work. Or you think, oh, that's rubbish, I need to install that. So it's a way of actually running Windows on your PC, Linux on your PC without having to install it.
Right.
You just plug your USB pen and you run it from the memory pen.
So what's the point in having them both? Having your Windows and your Linux?
That's another thing. Well, when you're running it from the pen, that's just to test it to make sure it works with all your
Right.
stuff. It's too slow to use as a daily driver because it's just, instead of a nice fast hard drive, it's just reading from a memory pen. So it's really, that's just a test to make sure your PC can run it. Because the last thing you want to do is go through the whole process of installing Linux, wipes everything, and when it comes to boot up, it doesn't work.
Right.
So you've lost everything for nothing. So run a what's called a live, they call it live CD, I think, which comes from the old days of CDs. Run that from your memory pen and test it, if that's go. Then you can actually boot up again this time, install it.
Right.
But,
Okay.
it's a good way of testing it out to see if your PC's up to it and can run it, which most can. There's very little that can't.
So
these days.
they would then what? Delete the Windows and run
Right,
purely on Linux?
If they've tried it on the pen and think, yeah, I actually like that, I think I'll install that. And then on the actual screen, there's a button that says install. So you can just say, right, okay, install, and off it goes. And wipes your Windows and installs Linux.
Right.
Obviously, you need to back up all your stuff first.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at in my mind, but I didn't know how to
You need
say it
to
properly.
Yeah, just save all your pictures and stuff like that. Just save to a file or up in the cloud,
Yeah.
whichever,
Again.
before you wipe it, because it won't save. Sometimes it will, but 9 times out of 10 it won't, and it's never worth taking the risk if it's valuable stuff. Yeah, so back up, test it with a pen. You think, yeah, I'll go for that. That's good. Back up all your stuff, and then install it.
Perfect. Right, my Windows PC says it's not activated.
Ah, right, yeah, that's another one. Activated, that means it has no license attached to it.
Right.
Doesn't mean it doesn't have a license, it just means that Microsoft doesn't know it has a license. Now, 9 times out of 10 it's because the PC, it's a copy of Windows that hasn't got a license. So you get this warning up which says not please activate your doodah. The PC will carry on working, even though it's not activated, but there are some restrictions, like you can't personalise it with pretty backgrounds and things like that.
Yeah.
And in my experience, it does actually run a little bit slower when it's not licensed.
Right.
And certain things don't quite work properly when it's not licensed. The good news is you can buy a license for Windows 10, 11 from around €5.
That's good.
Yeah. If you go to Microsoft and buy one, you're talking about 100 and something euros a license. But if you go to a company like Gamers Outlet, that's one,
Right.
they sell what's called OEM licenses. These are licenses that have been given to manufacturers to put on the PCs when they build them.
So that's OEM?
Yeah, it's called an OEM license, which is a full license, and they just resell the ones that haven't been used. And they knock them out for like €5. Perfectly legitimate, legal, but genuine license.
And easy to put
Yeah,
on?
you just go activate and it says, all right, what's the key? And you'll have the key, tap the key in, boom, Windows license.
Brilliant. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Chris.
That's right.
I hope that's helped you all with all the questions you've put in this week, and keep them coming in for next week at techtalk@campsaltv.es. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you very much, Christopher.
Thanks, Tracy.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.